Hello, everybody, and welcome to That Wrestling Show, the podcast where all pro wrestling matters. I am your host, Bill Yankovi, and this is a very big weekend in the world of professional wrestling. It is All Out weekend, and a little later on, I'm going to have a preview of All Out, and I'm going to be talking with Jim Boy Stars. We're going to go through all the matches that have been announced for All Out, plus give our predictions as to who will win the matches and maybe what could happen this Sunday at All Out. Unfortunately, we have to start the show with sad news. I think everyone's heard by now the passing of Sharon Sproul, better known to wrestling fans as Daffney, who passed away yesterday at the Shannon Sproul, who passed away at the age of 46 years old. It is believed that she committed suicide, and there was some fear, some worry about her on Wednesday night because she was on Instagram and did a live video, and I didn't see the video, but one of the things she did say in the video was donate my brain to Boston, which, for those that may not know what that means, basically she was saying donate my brain to get it studied for CTE to the Concussion Legacy Foundation in Boston, where Christopher Nowinski works at, and they've done a tremendous job studying the brain and trying to figure out CTE over the last 15 plus years. This is a sad story because it's one of those stories where, and I want to say the right thing here, where it's like, it's one of those things that you can't really control, you know. Suicide is one of the leading causes of death in the United States. I read a report yesterday that in 2019, over 400,000 people committed suicide and over 1 million people attempted suicide in 2019. And Daffney is now going to be a statistic of people committing suicide. I've had in my life a couple of friends who have committed suicide. And when you hear it, when you hear the news, it's tough. And then when you think of the person, it's even tougher. And there's truly been a lot of grieving, a lot of sadness in the world. with this story, and Daffney was somebody that, was everybody's friend. Like, if you went to a convention, if you went to a show, if you got your picture taken with her, she was a very cool person. I got a chance to meet her in 2013 at WrestleCon in New Jersey, and there was a Shimmer table. It was her, Lexi Fife, and Nikki Rocks, all there, and those three women could not have been any nicer to me. And Daffney was the coolest one of the three. She was absolutely wonderful to talk, absolutely wonderful to take a picture with. And it's, like, when I took the pic, or when I got my picture taken, it's like, yo, this is the girl from WCW, She was with David Flair, she was with Crowbar, and then, you go further along, she was in Ring of Honor for a while, in the early years of Ring of Honor, with CM Punk and Colt Cabana. And, she was in Shimmer, she wrestled in Shimmer for a while, and she was paired up with Mischief, and that was a really good combo right there, Mischief and Daffney. And then she was in Impact for a while, and it's easy to say that with Daffney, she was just so easy to like as a person. I never really heard anything bad about her. I never heard anybody say anything negative about her. She, was just a sweetheart of a person. And it's a shame that, we lost somebody that is a wonderful person like Daffney. And this is a hard one for a lot of people. This is really a hard one to take, a hard one. It's just hard. This is just a hard loss for the wrestlers, wrestling fans, people that knew her. And something I've always said on my Facebook many, many times, and I will say it here on this podcast. If you ever have a problem, feel free to talk to somebody. If it's me, because I know there are a lot of people that listen to this show, and, they talk to me, and sometimes I talk to you guys, if I'm down. Some of you guys are absolutely wonderful for checking in on me at times, and, that's what we need. That's what people need in this world. Our friends and people to be checked on, to check on them, make sure that we're all right, because you never know when you're going to say goodbye, because we all have this thought, this idea that we're going to be around for a long, long time, and then something like this happens, and it's hard, This is a tough story to deal with, because a lot of us, I feel a lot of us at some point in our lives have dealt with either a friend or a family member, a loved one, who we've lost through suicide. And it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to, to break down and cry. It's okay to, just let your energy out. But do it in a positive way. If you got to talk to someone, please talk to somebody. That's how much it means. I want to send, on behalf of our listeners and our staff, our thoughts, our prayers to Daffney's friends, to her family at this time. This is a difficult situation. One that really cannot be joked about. There's no way you can joke about this. If you joke about it, I think you're a terrible person. But just remember, if you ever need to talk to somebody, and I'm saying this to everyone that is listening to this podcast right now, if you ever need someone to talk to, feel free to find someone to talk to that person. Because it may take one. It may take more than one person to listen to you, to talk with you. But that's what we need, is people to listen to us. And if more people would listen to other people that are in bad situations, the world would truly be a much better place. Daffney, like I said, passed away yesterday at the age of 46. Right now, we're going to go to a pre-recorded segment of my picks with Jim Boy Star for All Out and what else could happen this Sunday. And after that, I'll be back with a couple of interesting wrestling news stories. Well, this is the big weekend that everyone has waited for. It is All Out weekend, and we're going all out with this preview because joining me right now is the host of Now That's What I Call Podcasting and Bill Learns Kingdom Hearts. It is Jim Boy Star.
Hey, Bill. So everyone just bear with me. I've been fighting a cold for the last couple of days, so you might hear me drink a lot of water on my end. But I definitely want to talk about All Out. I am still following AEW pretty regularly, and I'll say this much about the show, and obviously we'll go through the matches.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if people are going to take this as an insult or a compliment for this show, but this feels like the most WWE feeling show that AEW has put on. And we'll get into why I think that. And I'm not saying that's good or bad. That's to be seen, but I'll tell you why I feel like it.
Right. Okay. That makes sense.
What about you? What are your overall thoughts before we get into the matches?
Honestly, I think this is stacked. Like, there are so many big matches on here. More than... I would say the exception would be Double or Nothing. But, like, if you compared it to, like, a Full Gear or even, like, a WWE, like, if you were to compare it to, say, like, a Backlash or an Extreme Rules, this is kind of a big show. Just looking at the matches here on paper.
And again, my comment, I'm not really... Again, people can take it how they want, but I'll explain why it feels like a WWE-ish show to me, at least.
Okay. One thing that I do want to mention before we get into the card is one of the matches that was scheduled to happen at All Out is now not going to happen. Andrade El Idolo against Pac has been postponed, I guess would be the right word for it, as Pac is Pac. I always mess it up. I'm going to say Pac for this
Okay.
one. Due to Pac having travel issues. So the match is going to... They said it on Dynamite, actually, Wednesday. It is going to happen on a future episode of Rampage. So it sucks that we won't get that match, because that was one of the matches I was looking forward to. But you just got to go on with the show.
And I'm pretty sure this is going to air before Rampage, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's so obviously some thoughts I might have might be changed after that last Rampage. So
yeah. So I have at the time of this recording, the entire card for All Out, and we will start with the pre-show or the buy-in match, and it is a 10-man tag team match where it is Orange Cassidy, Chuck Taylor, Wheeler Yuta, and Jurassic Express against the HFO, Matt Hardy, Private Party, and TH2.
Okay, yeah, I don't think this is for anything in particular.
No.
I mean, it is what it is. It's the pre-show match. I'm disappointed that a lot of these, like, I feel like Orange Cassidy and Jungle Boy should be on the main show.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I'm pretty sure the Orange Cassidy Jungle Boy team is going to wind up winning this one.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that. I can't find any reason that Matt Hardy's team should win this match. So, yeah, I'll go with Orange and the Gang.
Orange and the Gang.
Orange and the Gang. You know, that'll be the next big band.
Okay.
Okay. So, this next match was originally the buy-in match. But because Andrade and Pac is postponed, this has now been bumped up to the main show. It is the Women's Casino Battle Royal, where the winner gets a future AEW Women's title shot. I have 20 of the 21. Because if we haven't figured out by now, AEW's tradition is we keep the last one as a surprise.
Is that a tradition? I know they did it for the last one, but I know the first one we knew Hangman was in it.
Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I'm not sure. Maybe it feels like a tradition to me. Okay, so here are the participants that we know of. Nyla Rose, Thunder Rosa, The Bunny, Big Swole, Julia Hart, Ty Conti, Diamante, Penelope Ford, Red Velvet, Hikaru Shida, Emi Sakura, Jade Cargill, Kiera Hogan, Abaddon, Layla Hirsch, Kylan King, Rebel, Jamie Hayter, Anna Jay, Riho, and the mystery participant. So, the first thing I'm going to ask you, Jim, who do you think the mystery wrestler is?
Probably. I've heard rumors of, and I don't know too much really about her. She went by Ruby Riott in WWE. I've heard that, or I've read that somewhere. So it's probably going to be her. And to be honest with you, that doesn't excite me nor dissuade me from anything, to be honest.
Right. I'm going to agree with you. I think that's who the mystery person is going to be for the match. Doesn't necessarily mean that she has to win the match.
Right. If anything, I feel like this is actually an opportunity, if they want it to be, a good match for them to actually put emphasis on their women's division. Yeah. Whether or not they want to or not is another question. Certainly a lot of people would say up until now, God forbid they do more than one feud at a time for the women. This is a chance to. I mean, really, you could make like 2 or 3 feuds from this. The obvious winner would fight the winner of the championship match.
Yeah.
And then in the process, you can have, assuming the person is Ruby Riott. And by the way, let's put it this way, guys, if Ruby Riott shows up outside of being the final person, like if she just kind of walked out with everyone else, I might not notice, because I don't think I would be able to tell you what Ruby Riott even looks like at this point.
Right.
But as a new entrant, she can start a feud with somebody, and then you could probably develop at least one more feud with the other participants. It does have that opportunity. Again, will it happen? I don't think so. I think we might get one feud focused on whoever the mystery woman is. But I don't think it'll be as useful as it possibly could be.
Yeah.
Do you agree with the mystery person, or no?
I definitely agree, because I think with the mystery person, you have to establish, somebody to go after her. So
now the question is, who do you see winning? And
see, this is actually the hardest one to pick, believe it or not.
I can believe that, yeah.
Because looking at the list, there's about 3 or 4 women I could see win this.
Agreed.
The first 2 right off the top of my head.
Well, first, wait. Give me a no chance in hell winning. Who's? There's no way this person's winning.
Julia Hart.
I think Julia Hart has a better chance than Kylene King.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I
might even argue Julia Hart has a better chance than Rebel.
Yeah. Actually, you're right. I don't think Nyla's gonna win.
I think one of my things is, if you've noticed, and I think we talked about this on the last pay-per-view that I was on with you, is they've been using, I think, again, except for the first one, it seems like, if we look through the history of the Casino Battle Royal, it's usually not given to someone that is going to main event a pay-per-view, because the person gets the shot on an episode of Dynamite, which is why I didn't go with Christian. Or no, I might have went with Christian. I don't remember, but Jungle Boy won, and which made sense, because again, it's only an episode of Dynamite.
Yeah.
So I'm actually taking anyone who I would say is an odds-on favorite to win to not win.
Right.
So, like, in my opinion, the people that aren't winning this is Thunder Rosa. Probably not. I agree with you. Probably not Nyla. Probably not Anna Jay. And then for me, everyone else is like, still has a shot.
The one that I'm kind of worried about, and I'll explain why I'm worried about, if this woman wins, is Jade Cargill.
Okay.
The reason I'm worried, and it's nothing against her, it actually isn't, because I actually think she's got a good presentation. My only concern is she's been there 6 months, maybe? And you could tell, if you've been watching for a while, they like her, they want to push her, but she's not in the position yet to do it. Meaning she needs some more time.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And if you have her go against whoever the champion is, it's almost a lose-lose situation. Because if you put her, okay, let's say for crazy purposes, Chris Statlander wins the title.
Sure.
As soon as she faces Jade, Jade's gonna win. Because there's no way that Jade's first loss is going to be, in a match where she's the challenger. I don't think so.
Yeah, but she's been fighting in other matches.
She has. But with Britt, everybody loves Britt. And she's someone that was in the same position that Jade was in, where Britt Baker was supposed to be like the one. But it took a long time to get her there.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if they're ready for that match yet.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying I do agree with you in regards to that. Who else would you eliminate here? Is there anyone else?
Sheeta, I would eliminate.
See, I think Sheeta has a shot. Why don't we do this? Why don't we just go through each person and say like what we think their chances are?
Okay.
So we already agreed Nyla is none of us
agreed she's not going to win.
What do you think about Thunder Rosa?
I would like to see her win, but I don't think it's time yet.
Right. Then we have the Bunny. She's pretty low on my list.
Yeah, she's low. Yeah, she's not going to be there.
I'm not totally disregarding her.
Yeah.
Because then they can revisit if Britt wins Britt versus Swole again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. What do you think?
Yeah, because it's been over. I think it's been a year since they had that dentist match. So
sounds about right. Then we have Julia Hart. I think Julia Hart has a shot for sure.
Maybe.
Tay Conti.
I think she has a shot.
I definitely do too. Diamante.
She would be a nice surprise.
I don't see her.
I don't see her.
She's on the low side for me.
Yeah, it would be a nice surprise.
As is the next person, Penelope Ford.
She's been getting some TV time, but I don't see her winning it.
And I also don't see Red Velvet winning because if Britt wins, we just had this match.
Right.
Unlike you, I do think Sheeta has a shot.
Okay.
Emi Sakura.
Maybe. She might have a shot.
Yeah, I'll put it that way. We talked about Jade already.
Yeah.
Kiera Hogan.
Maybe.
I'll give it a maybe too. Abaddon.
I would like to see Abaddon have a shot.
I wonder what Abaddon's record is, just out of curiosity.
Let me go to the AEW site and I'll tell you.
I would say I'm going to say a low shot on Abaddon, but I wouldn't mind seeing it.
Okay, this year Abaddon has gone 14-1.
Oh, so she has a pretty good record. What,
She's
14
got a
wins?
pretty doggone good record here.
I can see. Curious, who are the rankings right now as we're recording this? Well, actually, that's not fair because it does. I don't think they update it right after Dynamite. So
no, but they have it as Chris Statlander is 1, Thunder Rosa 2, Sheeta 3, Conti 4, and Cargill 5.
All right. What about Layla Hirsch? What do you think of her chances?
You know what? I'd give her a shot.
I'll give her a shot too. Kylie and King we talked about already.
Yeah.
Rebel.
No.
Yeah, no, there either. Jamie Hatner. Hatner, whatever it says.
She just got back. I think it may be too early for her.
Yeah, agreed. Anna Jay.
No.
And Rio, I don't think I knew that Rio was actually part of this.
You know what? Riho might be one that, if I had to pick, I mean, it's not my official pick, but I really would like it if Riho won.
Okay. And then woman to be determined. I
We
mean,
both
there's
think.
always that chance that the person that returns is going to get it. So,
You never know. Um, I'm gonna. You know what? I'm gonna say Conti's my pick.
that's who I was going to say too.
I
She's
think.
like
Yeah.
she's like perfectly in the middle of everyone else as far as like chances go.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so yeah, so that's both our picks for now.
All right. Then we've got John Moxley against Satoshi Kojima.
So this is going to start the trend of this is where things I think feel a little WWE-ish. There's no reason for this match. Absolutely none.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's cool. They have a New Japan guy coming in, and I get it. You have to keep relationship, and John Moxley has to do something. I understand all of that. That being said, there's not much of a story. I know there's this thing where Moxley, I guess, is sending contracts to New Japan. That's
Yeah.
what he's doing, right? But I don't know. I just feel like it just seems more to be there than like, oh, this was built to happen 3 weeks ago.
I think the original match, and I could be wrong. The original match was going to be Moxley against Tanahashi.
Okay.
And then Tanahashi won the US title, and then he's booked for a match this weekend against Kota Ibushi, and there's no way Tanahashi would be able to make it from Japan to Chicago in that short amount of time.
Right.
So honestly, I thought, they'd maybe do Minoru Suzuki, because he's in the US. He's going to do a couple of independent shows. From what I've heard, I thought, oh, maybe we could get Moxley and Suzuki again. But I'm fine with Kojima. Pick for this one.
I don't know. This is a coin flip because again, if Kojima wins, then that's gonna send Moxley for a rematch, maybe over in New Japan. And if Moxley wins, then he just wins, and you bring the next person out, like whoever is gonna fight from New Japan. I guess I'm gonna say, well, let me ask you this: when's the next New Japan show?
You mean like New Japan?
Like a major show for them?
Oh, this weekend.
Oh, well, okay. After this weekend, what's the next major show? Do they do monthly?
Let me. Well, I know they've got the G1 starting real soon. I'm looking. I mean, they're gonna have a couple like US shows towards the end of September, and looks like October as well.
Okay.
So maybe they can do something there?
Almost definitely. That's why I think I'm going to go with Moxley on this one. I think if it was in Japan, I would have said Kojima and then Moxley has to go over there for the rematch. But if it's just here, then more than likely they'll just bring other people from New Japan over here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Moxley will win this. Okay, next match. Paul White making his AEW in-ring debut against QT Marshall.
I gave AEW a lot of credit for like, oh, look at this. Paul White's been there since what? How long has he been there at this point?
Oh, since like almost the beginning of the year.
And I'm like, look and see, he didn't wrestle. Well, here it is. Hopefully it'll be quick. Again, this is a very WWE like feeling of why is this here? Although this story is the most ridiculous what the hell are they doing storyline probably of in all of AEW. Because the way this came about, what happened again? Like QT, can we go review the storyline?
All right.
Because it is maybe the dumbest but funniest storyline in the entire AEW right now.
All right. So the story is Tony Schiavone was supposed to get an apology.
For what, though?
From QT Marshall for, I think it was like dumping a drink on him or throwing a drink on him during an interview.
See, well, first off, when they announced that segment, I was like, what is he even apologizing for?
Right.
I was very confused by that, but go ahead, continue.
So then QT is like, oh no, I'm not going to apologize to you. You're going to apologize to me. And then they drag Tony Schiavone's son, who...
Why? That segment, I was laughing that segment because I'm like, what the hell are they doing?
Because apparently Tony's son wants to be a wrestler. He's got the height. He's got the height for it.
First I've heard of that, but okay.
I know. And Tony's like,
and
okay.
why is he there? Why was he in that arena in that particular time?
Was that in... No, that wasn't...
They were.
That was like in
Georgia. They have not been... I don't think so. I don't think they've been to Georgia yet, so can't be that.
Right. I'm trying to think if it was the Charlotte show.
Oh.
Maybe.
I mean, that doesn't help or hurt your argument.
Right. So then Paul White comes out because he doesn't like that people are picking on his friends, which in this case is Tony Schiavone.
Well, his friend's son. He doesn't like it.
And then...
That being said, I have to say, I like his theme song, the Paul White song.
Oh, God, yeah.
It's like if this is the theme song that he would have gotten if the Big Show made it on Forcible Entry.
So then Big Show, like a few weeks later, was to make an announcement, and then QT Marshall interrupted, and he showed pictures of Big Show's surgery that he had on his hip.
Right, okay.
And then Big Show's announcement was he was going to have a match, and the match is against QT Marshall. And then a week ago, Big Show costs QT Marshall a 6-man tag match.
Who did they fight again?
The Gun Club.
Oh, by the way, apparently the undefeated in trios matches Gun Club.
Really?
Did you? I'm pretty sure I saw their record. It was like 13-0.
Wow.
For trios. Maybe I'm wrong. Well, you're on the records page. Can you check that now?
See, I don't know.
Is that listed?
That's trios? What I was going to say. I don't know if they do trios records. Let's see. Men's roster. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, hold on. Maybe. Oh, actually, they do have trios records. Okay.
I'm almost. Yeah. Just go to one of them. Go Colton Gun or whatever else.
Right. I'm just going to pick one of the younger guns. They're 8-0.
I'm sorry, 8-0. So they're undefeated, though.
Yeah, they are undefeated.
Which I don't know if you could say that for many trios teams in AEW.
That's a good point.
So anyway, the undefeated Gun Club. So they beat the undefeated Gun Club, or the Gun
Club won.
The Gun Club won, sorry. And remained undefeated.
Yeah, and then this week, Billy Gunn, for some reason, turned on Paul White, which I can't wait to hear that explanation.
And then we had Tony Schiavone called them scumbags.
Yes. Which,
to be fair, only Billy Gunn hit Paul White.
Exactly. The Suns didn't do a damn thing.
On the other hand, by the way, just because I'm looking at the rankings and the roster page, Jack Evans is never won a trios match. He's 0-5.
Oh, poor Jack.
Um, so yeah, so that's where we left off. Is Billy Gunn, who's not in this feud, and by the way, it doesn't even look like. See, I thought it was going to be Billy Gunn is teamed up with QT, but that's not what I got from that at all after I watched it.
Right.
Because QT looks surprised.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do like I said, I think Paul White wins this, and I think it's going to be quick.
I would think it's going to be Paul White. It's his first match. Yeah, I'll say.
And hopefully his last match.
All right.
Speaking of last matches.
Yes, this could be Chris Jericho's last match because he is putting his in-ring career on the line against MJF.
So this is another one that, okay, look, I get the, there's a stipulation if Jericho loses, he must retire or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But if you take that away, this is a match that we've seen, for the third time in the last month and a half?
About.
Definitely 2 weeks ago. And then I feel like the first match was, I guess no, because that would have been their last pay-per-view. So that was 3 months ago, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Still, it's a third match in such a short amount of time. It seems like a very, very WWE-ish thing to do. Even with the stipulation, because I don't know. It's just I'm not as interested as I probably should be in this because of that.
Right.
What do you think?
It seems kind of easy to predict, but as you were talking, I was looking at the Fozzy tour dates page to see how this could all work out.
Oh, see, I thought you were looking to go to the show.
Oh, no.
Are they going to your area at all?
They are, but I don't think I'm going to go.
Okay.
If you want to do the VIP meet and greet, folks, it's $150.
I can meet all members of Fozzy.
You get a meet and greet with the members, a private sound check experience featuring a mini set of Fozzy and classic rock songs.
Wait, so that means Fozzy's doing cover songs?
Yeah. A group picture with the band, signed photograph, and early hassle-free merch shopping when available.
That's right. You don't have to wait online to spend your money.
So, looking at this, after the event, after the show, Jericho has a show Monday night.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has a show Thursday night. The only time where I think his schedule is going to conflict with AEW is when he does, if they do it, the European leg of the tour.
Okay.
Because that is...
He might not even be able to do the European leg of the tour at this rate.
Yeah. Because it is from November 29th to December 12th.
You better hope things get better. Because right now, the United States... not exactly welcomed in Europe.
No, they're not. And then they're supposed to go to Australia in 2022. So.
Oh God. We'll see. We'll see if that happens. I think he's being overly optimistic with these tour dates that go outside the United States, because I don't think any other company's even thinking of going outside of the United States at this point. We're all doing things within the States.
I don't know if WWE's still doing, because they're supposed to
go...
Well,
so you're right, because they're supposed to go to Saudi Arabia. I'm sorry.
Saudi Arabia, they're supposed to go to England in a few weeks. Wait a minute, I used to know how to do this on... See, WWE, real quick, folks, WWE.com's website, if you want to figure out like where they're going tour-wise, is a pain in the ass.
Is it? Oh, I didn't even know that their live events thing was bad. Why is it bad?
Well, you got to go to tickets, and then it puts you at like events near you, and then you gotta go look for other shows.
Okay.
Okay, so as of right now, as of this recording, November, September 2nd, WWE still has their UK shows planned to go.
Okay. Well, again, let's see if that happens. You know what? I actually hope they happen because that means that we got better here in the United States.
All right. As far as the match goes, Jericho and MJF. I'm gonna say Jericho wins.
I'm gonna say MJF wins.
Ooh.
And I didn't think about the Fozzy tour thing, but my thinking was this: is that Chris Jericho obviously was like our first person in AEW that he was a name that came in.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's not needed anymore, but now with the arrivals of CM Punk and possibly Bryan Danielson, he's not needed as much.
Right.
And I do think that there's a chance, and again, I didn't put the Fozzy thing even into consideration, but he has kept saying that he's like, all right, well, he keeps bringing up the announcer thing.
Yeah.
And let's face it, at this point, I mean, Jericho, he still has some matches in him, but a lot of things that I think AEW likes that Jericho's bringing right now is the theme song and people in the crowd singing his theme song.
Mm-hmm.
You could still do that when you're an announcer.
Yeah, you can.
So I think that that's what's going to happen is he's going to transition into a not full-time announcer, but a lot of times announcer.
Yeah.
And that way he can, that way he's not really taking any bumps anymore, and he's got a steady gig for now when he needs it. And then he knows that if Fozzy happens, then he can just go. He's not needed for a program that he basically can just come and go as he pleases.
Yeah.
Which honestly, for the most part, does seem like the announcers in general. I mean, Taz jumps in whenever anyone from Team Taz is out there, and then he
pretty much
jumps off. Callis does the same thing. They're very, very flexible at who's sitting in those chairs for the most part. In some ways, it annoys me because I get confused on all right, who's announcing this show as the steady announcers, but in some ways, it's also kind of fun.
Right.
So yeah, I'm saying MJF because guess what? If Jericho wins, then what then? We just get another MJF versus Jericho match?
Right.
And then what do you put on the line then? I mean, look, and the Inner Circle is pretty much disbanded.
Yeah, it looks like it.
I mean, they were very quietly disbanded because Sammy is out there teaming with what's-his-face.
Yeah, Fuego.
And proposing to his girlfriend, which was something that I did not care about. I was gonna say LAX. Santana and Ortiz are just tagging together.
Yeah.
Hager, who the hell knows what he's doing? Maybe he's trying to go back to MMA now that things are slowly but surely running again in the States. So with nothing going on in the Inner Circle, again, a great time for Jericho to kind of peace out.
Yeah.
Whether or not it stays that way, we'll find out. But hey, think of it this way: Cody never got a world title shot yet, so
that's true.
They've stuck with that.
It's been almost 2 years, so
and he's certainly had reason that you can be like, oh, we need a big time good guy, and let's throw Cody in. Oh wait, no, we can't.
If he ever does get another title shot, I hope, for the sake of just having it happen, I hope the excuse is when the contract was signed, it was signed as Cody, not Cody Rhodes, or something like that.
Honestly, I think if it does happen, it would wind up being especially since Jericho's a good guy now. Jericho's
Jericho could
saying,
lift that band.
correct, yeah, that's going to be how they get out of that.
Yeah, makes sense. All right. Speaking of championships, the TNT title is on the line. Miro defends against Eddie Kingston.
This is another one, just like the Moxley match. Like, again, I feel like there's no. It's only on here just to be on here.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not really a build. I would have much preferred a built-up Orange Cassidy match or Jungle Boy match in this slot for sure.
Right.
Maybe even like Orange Cassidy against Miro, even though I don't care about Miro at all. That being said, I'd love to see Eddie Kingston win just because I would like to see anyone beat Miro, to be honest with you. Although I will say this, the one thing I have noticed is with Miro, one of the things that makes him special, and this is a reason why Lana should never come in, is he's one of the only people, and I'm looking through this whole card to see if I could find someone else. I guess maybe CM Punk, but he's one of the only people in this entire company that isn't with someone in some shape or form.
Yeah.
Meaning he doesn't have a manager. He's not part of a tag team. He's not part of a group like the Best Friends or anything like that. He is by himself, and just by being by himself, that does make him a little bit special compared to everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Can you think of anyone else on this card other than I'm not even going to say Paul White, because Paul White kind of has Tony Schiavone and his son.
No, I honestly can't.
Yeah, I'm looking through it now because Moxley has Kingston. Yeah, the other than the Punk, that's the only one, and he literally just came in. So, Miro's probably gonna win.
I would have liked to have seen this match
better built up.
Not only that, but also at the Queens show at the tennis stadium.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where this match should have happened.
I agree with that, and you also would have had time to build it up too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird because I don't feel, and AEW is not the kind of place that I'm like that feels like we need to have every single person on every single card.
Yeah.
I mean, take out the pre-show. This is 9 matches.
Mm-hmm.
This is definitely running 4 hours.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not thrilled about that because sometimes, I mean, there have been. What was the AEW event that had MJF going for the world title?
Oh, was that last year's All Out?
Maybe but whatever event that was, the length of the show I feel definitely hurt it. I think I checked out like a match or two before the main event. I was like, this is too long. And I have a bad feeling I'm gonna feel the same way about this too at the end.
It was last year's All Out.
Yeah, so this just doesn't need to be on here to me. Miro versus Eddie Kingston.
Okay. I think Miro's gonna win this, but what I would like to see is him do some kind of cheating, and then maybe we can find a way to get the match in Queens.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point, I'm not really holding my breath.
Yeah, I agree with you.
AEW Tag Team titles on the line in a steel cage. The Young Bucks defend against the Lucha Brothers.
So I do feel like this is a match that... I still feel like the whole tournament thing was just to get rid of their plot point of the Varsity Blondes should be the next one to get the tag team title shot. But oh no, we can't possibly put them on the pay-per-view to get the tag team title shot.
Mm-hmm.
So let's make this tournament. And they did. And I thought for sure Jurassic Express was going to win that one.
I did too.
We'll see, and this is why this feels like a WWE type of thing too. It's a steel cage match for no real reason. Like, I feel like they made the cage match was made with Jurassic Express in mind, but Jurassic Express isn't even on here. I mean, don't get me. This will be a great match, and I'm actually really looking forward to them, all four of these guys in a cage.
Mm-hmm.
But to say that this has been a built-up match would be ridiculous. To say this would be a match that warrants a steel cage match seems absurd to me.
Well, the storyline is the reason for the cage is the constant interference from members of the Elite.
Right.
And
which was made by when they cheated against Jurassic Express.
Right. And then, Shivani was interviewing them and he's like, "Oh, I've just been told that your next title defense is at All Out and it'll be in a cage and no one can get involved." And then they put the tournament in just to determine. There I see your point 100% about this being, this is a WWE style match.
You didn't build it, we just put a cage on there because we want to have a cage match. Because even if you look at it this way let's say there was no cage match here, you have a manager on one side and a manager on the other side that would take care of each other, so theoretically it would be a fair match.
Yeah. If any of the titles, and I'm saying if any of the titles were to change hands, this is the one I would bet a lot of money on.
I would too. Because who else do you put the Young Bucks against if not after this then?
Right.
You're running out of people unless you're saving yourself, which I don't think they are anymore, unless you're saving yourself for Young Bucks versus Sting and Darby.
Because, and I was thinking the other day too, like, if the Bucks were to win, there's only two teams that they can go against at this point. One would be Jurassic Express to be like, we, deserve a rematch. And the other would be the Dark Order.
Yeah, I forgot about the Dark Order, actually.
And I kind of forgot about Darby and Sting, to be honest with you. So, you know what? I'm going to say it. I think the Lucha Brothers win the tag titles.
I'm taking a look here at the tag team records again. This has not been updated to reflect the current Dynamite. So right now, Lucha Brothers are 10-0. Then we have 10-3 Jurassic Express. Then we have 6-0 FTR, 6-3 Santana Ortiz. 18-5 the Varsity Blondes. Because Sting and Darby would just need 3 wins, and then they meet up with FTR.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as absurd as people might think it is, according to the rankings here at least.
Right.
To get them to number 1, it takes one match at the next pay-per-view, one match at maybe the stadium thing, and one match on Dynamite, and they're there. But yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to say Lucha Brothers on this one, because I just don't... Clearly, they don't want the Varsity Blondes to get a title shot. So, it's not going to be them. And I don't even think they're going to do Jurassic Express against against the Young Bucks again. I'll go Lucha Brothers on this too.
Yeah. All right. AEW Women's title, Dr. Britt Baker defending against Chris Statlander.
So this one I feel like doesn't really have that much of a build either. Statlander just won because was just named, right? Like nothing actually happened. So yeah, I guess I'm going with Britt Baker on this one. This one's probably the easiest one.
Yeah, I would think this is the easiest. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to agree with you.
Okay, man. I'll say this is the easiest still.
Yeah. All right. Then we have the two big matches. CM Punk against Darby Allin.
This is the one match I feel on this card that does feel like super important and doesn't at all feel WWE-ish at all. Let me get your thoughts on this match first.
Okay. This is the perfect first opponent for Punk. I think. This is someone who could match Punk in style and ability. This is the biggest match of Darby Allin's life.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Forget about his career. This is the biggest match of his life. And he's going into a situation where it's like you're Punk's first opponent in 7+ years. And this is someone who has been with Sting all year, has had the TNT title, has had some ridiculous, insane matches. And I feel in a way this is AEW rewarding Darby Allin for the year he's had.
Yeah, I can see it that way.
Because I don't know too many other wrestlers that would be in this position. Like, there probably are at least 10, 15 guys that would cut their arm off to get this opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
But it's Darby's. And I think this is the biggest match for Darby Allin. I don't think win or lose, his perception from the fans is going to change. I don't think, anything bad of him after this match. I expect this to be a very good match. I don't expect it to be, a 5-6 star match. And I understand, Punk's concern and some of the fans' concern of, well, Punk hasn't been in a match. And I understand that. But let's talk about the kid. Because Darby, let me see, how old is Darby? He's 28.
I was going to say, he's definitely in his 20s for sure.
He looks a little younger. I'll say that.
Yeah.
I think Darby should enjoy this moment. I really do. Because this is, I don't know if he's ever going to get this big ever again.
Maybe the only chance maybe is his world title win, but you could argue that this might be even more important than that.
Exactly.
So yeah, I'm all about this match. Although at first I was kind of a little scared because I was like, you know what, Darby's the person that's gonna fight Punk's gonna lose, and I really like Darby, so I was a little bummed out by that. But I'm like, you know what though, this is AEW, and they've shown that there are ways that you can lose and still not look bad.
Exactly.
So, like, if it was, WWE, I'd say, oh, he's done. Like, obviously I think Punk's going to win.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a big part of me, and the only reason I don't think they're going to do it with Punk, and they probably shouldn't either, because it is his home, in Chicago, I believe, or something like that.
Yeah.
I want to see something where, and I think I've said this before on one of the specials that I've had with you.
Mm-hmm.
The new guy that comes in and he loses his first match and then he gains sympathy that way. I really want them to try to do that story with someone. It won't be with Punk, but I do want them to do it with somebody.
Yeah.
I think they could pull it off, and I think it could be really, really good. I mean, I'm sure there are definitely fighters out there in general, like MMA fighters or boxers or whatnot, that lost their first match, then all of a sudden did great and had a great rest of the career.
I think Brock was like that, actually.
Maybe, but that's my point. Is I want them to try to tackle that story. But I won't be here. I think CM Punk's gonna win.
If Darby wins, I don't know if he's like I said, I don't know if the like social media is gonna explode and be like, oh, what the hell is this shit? This was stupid on AEW's part. I'm never gonna watch them again. Blah 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 blah. I don't know if that's gonna happen. I doubt it, but
I think if Darby wins, he's definitely getting booed.
yeah, he is.
It might be like a bad guy turn for him.
With that said, Punk has to win this. I can't see any. The only way I see Punk losing, there is one way, is if something happens with 2.0 and Daniel Garcia getting involved. That's the only way.
Yeah, I agree, but also, well, actually, no. I also think that there's a shot that, not that Punk's going to lose, but I do think that even though Sting said he's staying in the back, I do think something's going to happen with Sting with this.
Could be.
And I think it's going to be a case of maybe that's what happens is he like goes to try to trip Punk, but instead gets Darby instead. And that causes Punk to win, and then that's like starts Punk or Darby and Sting maybe have a disagreement that can lead to something. That's the other thing. When Darby loses here, you have to have somewhere to go with him, though.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't think there's going to be a reason for another Darby Punk match. So
yeah, I think this is one
We'll see.
Done.
We'll see.
Yeah. And the main event of this show, Kenny Omega defending the AEW World Title against Christian Cage. The last match they had was on Rampage. It was pretty damn good. I don't know. I mean, it's possible they can top that one. It's possible, but I don't know.
So this isn't. We're back to the WWE Feel Like match in regards to we just saw this 3 weeks ago. So and I understand why we're seeing this again, but so out of all this, we had how many matches here? We have 9 matches. I'm not going to count the pre-show.
Right.
I guess only 2. 2 of them are matches that we've had before in recent memory. Jericho and MJF and Omega and Christian Cage.
Yeah.
There's a few with no build, which is Moxley and
Kojima,
Miro,
and Kingston.
Yeah, and Kingston, and kind of Baker versus Statler. They didn't really do anything with that. And an unnecessary cage match, in my opinion. Even though I think it'll be a great match, but again, if WWE did the same thing, I'd complain about that. They just like, hey, here's the steel cage match for no reason. There's a big part of me that feels like this Omega versus Cage match doesn't even need to be on here. Like, because it goes back to the quiet. Well, we'll tackle that in a second. But so, first off, there's no way Christian Cage should win the AEW Championship.
No.
I love Christian Cage in Impact. If he had shown up in Impact instead of AEW, you would have heard no complaints from me at all. Like, because I know I was very hard on Christian when he came in. So I think Omega wins. What do you think on this match? And I want to kind of go back to something I was saying before.
Oh, I definitely agree. It's Omega winning this. But the thing that I'm thinking about is, let's say, if this is the main event, if this is the final match.
Well, that's kind of I want to discuss that with you actually.
Okay.
Maybe we'll do that now.
Yeah, let's do that now.
A lot of people are saying maybe CM Punk versus Darby Allin should be the main event, and some people are like, no, it's got to be Omega versus Cage. Where are you standing on this?
There's another one where I've heard it should be Jericho and MJF as the main event.
I've not heard that one at all.
I've heard it from I've heard it from a few people, not a lot.
Okay. Did someone also say Paul White should be the main event?
No.
Where's my women's casino battle royal should be the main event? People out there.
Okay, this is tough because there's kind of two mindsets.
Definitely.
With the main event.
And I think knowing me as well as you do, you probably have an idea which one I think should be the main event.
I think I do.
Okay, but let's hear your side first.
Okay. The two thoughts is with wrestling is the WWE main event and everything else, or everybody else. The WWE train of thought for a main event, 9 times out of 10, or I guess we could say 11 out of 12 because they do a pay-per-view every month. Unless it is the Royal Rumble, the championship match should go last. Usually that is the mindset of WWE.
I don't know if I would 100% agree with that because I think that for them the mindset is the part-timer should go on last.
Okay.
I know what you're saying, but coincidentally they are always in the title match. Right. But I'm saying, like, if the champion was, I don't know, I guess, is Lashley still the champion?
Yeah.
So let's say it's Lashley against, I don't friggin' know, Ricochet. All right, I don't know why he popped in my mind. And then your other match was Brock Lesnar versus Drew McIntyre. But the Lashley match is the world title match. You don't think they're gonna put Brock Lesnar in that main event slot?
Oh, Brock's gonna be in the main event.
That's what I mean, though. It's a part timer that's in the main event, not necessarily the championship.
Right, but like I said, there's that special occasion every once. Well, I didn't say it, but I'll say it here. There's that special occasion every once in a while where, like you used as an example, Brock Lesnar would be in the main event. Here,
but you think you're missing what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
I'm trying to say that it's not the main event because it's the world title match. It's the main event because a part-timer's involved.
Right. With these two matches, if Punk goes last, it's kind of basically, to me, saying we're going to send everybody home happy. That's how I look at it.
Okay.
If Omega and Christian is last, and maybe this happens even if they're not last, something will happen post-match.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what that'll be is one of two things. Actually, one of three things. It is either Bryan Danielson's debut, Adam Page returns because he's on paternity leave. His wife is having a baby. That's why he's not on this pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm. You know what, Bill? Can I just say this? I miss the days when I didn't know when people's spouses were pregnant.
I know, right?
And that, like when someone took out Bret Hart in, like, the 90s.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, no, I wonder when he's going to come back. Now it's just like, oh, because his wife's pregnant. I'm like, it's like, I just wish I never... I don't care. I don't care about their baby or anything. Just let me get lost in the TV show that you're presenting. Because now it's just like, all right, well, cool. So he's just having the baby. So you figure about a month. So he'll be back in a month. Like, you kind of know already. Even with women that are pregnant. You're like, all right, 9 months. Let's see how fast now they come back.
Right.
I hate it. Anyway, go ahead.
And then there's the third idea. The third one's a long shot,
All right.
but we never know. Adam Cole debuts in AEW.
Mm-hmm.
One of those three scenarios to me has to happen after the title match.
If that's the main event you're saying. Now, if it's not, do you still think that has to happen after that match?
Not necessarily, no. Because you can save it for Dynamite.
Mm-hmm. Here's my problem. Like, listen, I get, I get it. It makes sense why people would argue for, CM Punk versus Darby.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's Chicago, and it's going to be those people will definitely use the argument of there's no way anyone's going to top that. The crowd's going to, who knows, maybe some people probably say some of the crowd might leave because they saw what they considered the main event.
Right.
I think for me, what would bother me if with CM Punk versus Darby main eventing is it makes CM Punk look like a bit of a hypocrite.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's exactly what he was arguing against during his reign as WWE champion, and the fact that he was always like pushed to the side for people that aren't even there the entire year.
Right.
It makes him look like a little bit like a hypocrite, at least if he doesn't fight it. Obviously, if Tony Khan's like, no, we need to have you on last, and Punk's like, no, but I don't think we should be last because of X reasons. And Tony Khan says, no, you're going to be on last no matter what. Then he saves face doing that. But that's my big problem with it. And of course, my other thing is, as you could probably guess, is I always feel like the world title should be on last.
Yes.
Because to me, if your biggest match is not the world title match, maybe you should start reevaluating who you're giving the world title to.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that being said, your situations, I understand, like that would be a way to kind of end the pay-per-view of having an Adam Cole or a Bryan Danielson come out. I mean, let's face it, didn't Christian Cage come out and confront Omega on his first day?
I think he did.
And guess what? He's only getting a world title shot now, and that was 3 months ago?
Probably.
So it's not like it's set in stone that just because you confront Omega on your first... In fact, I think Omega, that was one of the things he said, is he's like, well, you have to actually earn your place here. He basically said that you don't get to walk in and get a world title shot. What do you think? Do you think Punk versus Darby is Punk being a little bit of a hypocrite if he doesn't fight against it?
I think he would. I think he would be a hypocrite if he didn't fight it.
Right.
It's just, that's the thing is, and I was thinking about this when you started talking about it. I feel like I've seen that so many times throughout the years where the hometown guy is the main event where maybe he shouldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
The exception to that rule, and you might agree or disagree with this.
Sure.
I think the exception to that rule is Davey Boy and Bret Hart at SummerSlam.
Okay.
That, I think, is the exception to the rule.
Who was the world title match in that one?
That was Randy Savage and Warrior.
Okay.
I think anywhere else in that situation, and you have that guy, the hometown guy, as the main event, it's like, yeah, that shtick's been done, you know?
I think for me, it's like, because we've clearly seen a pattern where in like the last month of AEW kind of catering to that hometown aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, not only with CM Punk, but also Britt Baker with Britsburg, and
Yeah.
I think the next Dynamite is John Moxley, and I guess he comes from Cincinnati. I was gonna say Milwaukee. So they're definitely into pushing that, which is kind of refreshing because WWE does a lot of like, oh, you're in your hometown, so we're gonna lose.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, in like a year, if it's still constantly that, I'm probably gonna start being tired of that because I'm gonna be like, oh, they're at their hometown. Gee, I wonder what's gonna happen. They're gonna win. Like at some point, it'll probably become predictable. So I don't know how long. I get why they're doing it when they're first going on the road. That makes sense. Here's an idea. This is the one that I think I would be okay with if they did it this way, and I'm curious what you think.
Okay.
So let's say the Young Bucks versus Lucha Brothers are in the middle, not the middle of the card, but like pretty high up in the card, right?
Yeah.
Let's say the Young Bucks, after the match, is like some big brawl that happens between the Elite and the Lucha Brothers, and Kenny runs out, Christian runs out, they're all in the big brawl, and Kenny's like, you know what? I know that. I'm trying to think, how did this go in my head? He's like basically Kenny's fired up. He's like, you know what? Nothing's gonna top this. Nothing's gonna top my match. I'm the star. So why don't we just get things done right now, and that way I can put you away. Okay. And that way Kenny is basically saying like he doesn't want to wait till later because he's already out there, and then they have the match. Then it's kind of like he made it not the main event.
Right. I could be okay with that.
So, I mean, I'm sure they can write something better than what I did, but you get the idea.
Yeah. I think it will end up being Omega and Cage as the main event.
Okay. I think your scenario was way more likely than mine, in that someone comes out after the Omega Cage match.
Yeah.
Now, who will that be? I mean, I heard Bryan Danielson. It could be Adam Cole, but you know what I was thinking? You know what I would love to see Adam Cole do, to be honest with you? Be Britt Baker's manager.
Oh, that would be great.
Let's have it the opposite way around, where she's responsible for bringing him in or whatever, instead of like, I think like sometimes the guy has their manager come in there.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be great. We'll see if that happens. And it would increase the Britt Baker stable that she apparently has formed.
Right. That would be pretty good.
Yeah, I love that. Because look, they're definitely not it's definitely not a secret that they're dating or whatever. I don't think they're married. I'm not really that sure. So yeah, see some places, some couples being out like that, like I'm all about, like that one. And then there's some that I'm just like, I know they're together. Please don't do anything on TV to acknowledge this couple.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what a good example is? And I hope they don't do it. I'm really hoping they don't. Jungle Boy and Anna Jay.
Yeah.
I really hope that is not ever acknowledged. All right, so what do you want to do? Do you have anything else to say about Omega versus Cage?
Well, let's see. We both said Omega would win.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You know what? I'm going to ask this question.
Yeah.
Is this the night Marco Stunt turns his back on Christian.
Yes, I forgot all about that. That would be the perfect way for Christian to lose.
So, for those who don't know what we're talking about, Jim's idea has been for the last month and a half for Marco Stunt to turn his back on Christian Cage because Christian is hanging out or taking Marco's spot.
Yeah.
In Jurassic Express.
I mean, did Marco come out with them this week at all, or no? I don't even remember.
Yeah, he did come out.
All right. So maybe he's got his spot back for now. But now and look, to give Christian something to do right away after losing. The world needs a Christian Cage versus Marco Stunt feud. It would be a really cool thing. I would lose my mind if that happened. If that's how this match ends, is that Marco Stunt costs Christian Cage the match, I'd be like, oh my god. And I'll tell you about something else. If it winds up leading to a Christian Cage versus Marco Stunt Impact World Championship, that's a pay-per-view I'm buying.
Main event of Bound for Glory right there.
Yeah, that's right. Bound for Glory is coming out. That's right. I don't want it on an Impact Plus exclusive. I want on Bound for Glory.
Oh, God. So, Marco, if you do it, just thank Jim. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, I hope Tony Khan's listening. Maybe that'll help to speed this up. All right, so overall, I guess this is just overall thoughts now at this point as we wrap up.
Yeah. I think the cage match is going to be the best match of the show. I really think it will.
Question about the cage match, now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
What are the AEW rules for the cage match? Are you escaping, or can you pin, or can you do both?
I think you can do both.
Okay.
That's my guess.
Okay.
So, as far as the rest of the card goes, it's okay.
Well, what did you think about my comment of now that we've gone through the card, of it feeling very WWE-ish?
I see your point. I actually do see your point.
And probably the most WWE-ish since they've started.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that.
And again, I'm not saying it's not going to be good, because I have way more faith in AEW than I do WWE.
Right. Yeah, at least they're not going to advertise a match for 3-4 weeks and then right as the match is about to happen say that person isn't there and then someone else will
how disgusting is that as a tactic? Oh my god. And you have people that are like defending that they blatantly lied. Now, the thing is, though, what I'm annoyed about more than anything is, okay, I think Dave Meltzer and all these other journalists deserve an apology because they've known about it for like a week and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And all of you guys kept saying, like, no, that's you guys are just dirt sheet writers. Nothing you say is true, when this 100% wound up being true.
Well, I guess you could say, the foot is in, or one foot is in the, in the mouth. And I don't know.
Yeah, God, you're right though. I like there was a quote on Twitter at some point that was about the Pac Andrade match,
mm-hmm.
and they were like, "Wait, no, you're not supposed to tell us. You're supposed to not tell us." And then one of them loses in a 60-second squash.
Right.
You're doing it wrong, Tony Khan.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, like I said, it's good. There's a lot of good things on here, but also a lot of things that I don't care about. Like, again, I'm not into the Moxley, Kojima, and Miro versus Kingston. But like, I'm super into obviously CM Punk and the cage match.
Yeah.
And if Tony Schiavone's son gets involved. See if that happens.
He might be training that night. I don't know.
You don't think? I think the other thing is I'm just a little annoyed also because this doesn't have to be that. Not all. Again, all these matches are not necessary.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 2 you could definitely drop, but whatever. We'll see what happens.
Yep.
All right, you want to say goodbye, or at least for this segment of your show?
Yeah. Real quick, where can everyone follow you at?
Sure, it's that'spodcasting.com, and that's podcasting on Instagram and Twitter. We have the new season of Bill Learns Kingdom Hearts coming out, featuring the Chain of Memories game, or I should say Rechain of Memories. Mm-hmm. That will start on September 26th.
Yes.
And thanks for having me on, Bill.
Of course. And let's go back to, well, me. All right, welcome back, and I want to thank Jim again for taking the time out to join us on the show this week to preview AEW All Out. We have a couple of news stories to discuss before wrapping up the show for this week, and the first one is about Ohio Valley Wrestling. Don't get to talk about Ohio Valley Wrestling that much, but this is kind of big news. It is being reported this week that Ohio Valley Wrestling may be leaving their longtime arena, the Davis Arena in Louisville, Kentucky, to a brand new building. WDRP-TV in Louisville has reported that Ohio Valley Wrestling is in discussions to move to the University of Louisville's Fitness Center, which is formerly for employees, which was shuttered to cut costs in 2019. The news station reports that a pre-application was filed seeking to have the property shifted from a residential building to a commercial building on August the 6th, proposing that OVW use the facility as a wrestling academy with public exhibitions of Ohio Valley Wrestling events. There would be no major change to the building itself, as the plan would be to use the building as it exists. Matt Jones, the majority owner of Ohio Valley Wrestling, told the news station that they intend to move into the building, but the process has not been finalized. Ohio Valley Wrestling, for those who would like a quick history, was founded in 1993 by Nightmare Danny Davis, and for many years was the developmental territory for WWE, churning out stars such as Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton, John Cena, Nick Dinsmore, Shelton Benjamin, and many, many more wrestlers. The Davis Arena that is currently used by Ohio Valley Wrestling was opened in 2002, and for most of the promotion's existence since that point has been the epicenter for the company from a training and event standpoint. Danny Davis retired in 2018 with Al Snow heading up training and operations from that point on. They do have a weekly live TV show in Louisville, and in recent years, they've been pushing hard to land TV coverage on different platforms and broadcasting outlets, including U2 America, Game Plus, and more. I've never been to the Davis Arena, but if you've seen the footage that WWE has, it's kind of like, I guess the equivalent would be to like Center Stage in Atlanta for WCW, or the Bingo Hall in Philadelphia, for the ECW arena. It's their place. It's their home. Like, I know for a little while there were a couple of Ring of Honor TV episodes taped there. I think Impact might have had some shows taped there as well. So this news, if you are someone that lives in the Louisville area, this could be considered an end of an era, really, for the territory, and it is a big deal. It is a big deal. Obviously, not a lot of other podcasts are going to talk about it, but I felt it deserved the time to be mentioned here on That Wrestling Show because of how many big names of the last 20 years have come through to get to WWE and end up being world-class wrestlers. In the Ring of Honor news, Rush will be out of action for the remainder of this year. It was reported earlier this week that Rush had to go to the hospital for emergency surgery. We still don't know what the surgery was. However, we do know that he had knee problems during Glory by Honor weekend and is now out of action for the remainder of this year. And he was actually going to be a part of Death Before Dishonor, which is, less than a week and a half away, where he was scheduled to compete for the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team titles. His father, Bestia del Ring, will replace Rush in the 6-man tag team championship match. So Rush, who was Ring of Honor World Champion for well over a year, carried the company, going to be out of action for the remainder of the year. Hopefully we'll get to see Rush in 2022, and he will be at 100% and will be, in a lot better shape. Let's say that. Okay, 2 more news stories, and then we're going to call it a show for this week because everyone is getting ready for Labor Day weekend. This first story, I kind of like this. I thought this was pretty cool to see, and I put it up on our Facebook group. The Black Pro Wrestlers 500 list came out this week. So, this list was... there we go. This list was compiled, and I'm going to pull it up right now, by blackwrestlance.com. And like I said, I put the list up, but I'm going to read the top 10 so everyone knows who the top 10 are on this list of the top 500 black wrestlers. Number 10, Frontman Jam. Number 9, Powerhouse Hobbs. 8, Bianca Belair. 7, Jonathan Gresham. 6, Sasha Banks. 5, Rich Swann. 4, Lee Moriarty. 3, AJ Gray. 2, Bobby Lashley. And 1, Trish Adora. Yes, Trish Adora beating out Bobby Lashley for the top spot this year on a very cool list, of the top 500 black wrestlers. So congratulations to Trish. And I'll tell you, I've watched Trish Adora in the Ring of Honor women's title tournament. She has looked really, really good, and I am becoming a fan of hers. So it is really cool to see Trish Adora doing so well and being recognized for doing so good in this crazy world of professional wrestling. On to the final piece of news to discuss this week, and this is one that may surprise you. This has not been mentioned very much because it broke a little earlier today. One of the matches that was supposed to have taken place this past Monday night on Raw was John Morrison against The Miz. Well, that match never happened. We were wondering, where was The Miz? Well, now it seems we know why he was not there. Because PWInsider.com is confirming that The Miz will be on this season's Dancing with the Stars. That's right. The Miz will be announced on Wednesday as part of the cast for the 30th season of Dancing with the Stars. The only big name that has also been announced is JoJo Siwa. So, it got me thinking. There have been wrestlers that have competed on Dancing with the Stars before. Let's take a look and see how they have done in the past. So the first wrestler or wrestling personality to compete on Dancing with the Stars was Stacy Keibler. And of the three, she did the best out of all three wrestling personalities that competed. She was in season 2 of Dancing with the Stars. Her professional partner was Tony Dovolani, and Stacy ended up finishing 3rd behind Jerry Rice and that season's winner, Drew Lachey. Stacy Keibler was a professional dancer at one point and a cheerleader for the Baltimore Ravens. I think Stacy got robbed. She should have won, but that's just me. I have a crush on Stacy Keibler. So, but the song, I'll go through the songs that they performed or danced to. Stacy and Tony danced to I Wonder Why by Curtis Stigers. I'm Like a Bird, Nelly Furtado. Cell Block Tango from Chicago. Cold Cold Heart, Nora Jones. Bootylicious from Destiny's Child. And then in the group Salsa, with all the other contestants, performed Rhythm Is Gonna Get You by Gloria Estefan. And then Wake Me Up Before You Go Go by Wham. Then they did 2 in a row, You Can't Hurry Love by Phil Collins and Since You've Been Gone by Kelly Clarkson. And then the finale, they did 3 songs, Wake Me Up Before You Go Go again, Staying Alive by the Bee Gees, and Livin' La Vida Loca by Ricky Martin. The second wrestler to compete on Dancing with the Stars was Chris Jericho in season 12, and his partner was the legendary Cheryl Burke. This group was an interesting group, and Jericho made it to just about the halfway point of season 12 before being eliminated in the 5th week. So the songs that he danced to with Cheryl include Should I Stay or Should I Go by The Clash, I Got Rhythm, Judy Garland, Let It Be by The Beatles, I Dove Gubens Hall, Edvard Grieg, I hope I pronounced that right, America the Beautiful by Whitney Houston, and the song that was played when they got eliminated, Don't Stop Believin' by Journey. So he made it to, like I said, almost the halfway point of that season. That's pretty good. And then season 25 was Nikki Bella, who ended up, are you ready for this? Surprise, surprise. Hooking up with Artem Chigvintsev. I hope I pronounced that right. And, of course, they now have a child together. But Nikki was eliminated in week 6 as part of a double elimination and almost made it halfway again. So she did pretty good on Dancing with the Stars. So let's go through the songs that she danced to. They started off with So What by Pink, and then they danced Come Away With Me by Nora Jones. And then later that night, Despacito by Luis Fonsi featuring Daddy Yankee. Then they did Love on the Brain by Rihanna. Then they did Fight Song by Rachel Platten. Then they did Remember Me by Benjamin Bratt. And then they did Dernier Danse by Indila, and then the one that got him eliminated was I Put a Spell on You by Bette Midler. If they had done I Put a Spell on You by CCR, I think they would have been safe that week, but that's just me. So The Miz has a pretty good history to follow on as far as competition or competitors on Dancing with the Stars go. Normally WWE, you know, the wrestlers do really good on the show, and who knows, maybe The Miz will end up doing a good job on Dancing with the Stars. Do I think he's going to win it? Probably not. I'll say that. I really don't think he will, but you never know. Could be very surprising. So we won't see The Miz on WWE TV for a little while, but we will see him on Dancing with the Stars, and who knows, maybe I'll cover Dancing with the Stars to keep y'all up to date on how he does. So on that note, that's going to do it for this week, and let's do the plugs. If you guys have any questions or comments, send an email, wrestlingman@thatwrestlingshow.com. Don't forget to follow the show on Twitter at WrestlingShow11. Follow the show on Instagram at That Wrestling Show. Join our Facebook group. It is That Wrestling Show fan group. You type that in the search bar and you are right there. And if you can't find it, it's okay. I put the link in the description of each and every episode. And if you like what you heard here and want more content, check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/That Wrestling Show. Now to plug other podcasts and friends of ours, check out our Vantage Point, the Retro Wrestling Podcast, where this week they discuss in their Unsung Heroes segment, Paul Bearer. Plus, week 4 of the Royal Rankings of the Best Celebrities in Wrestling, and they review the 1993 Survivor Series Showdown. That is this week on our Vantage Point. Also, check out Greetings from Allentown with Peter Winson. This week, he watches and discusses an episode of WWF Superstars from August 1987, where Paul Orndorff fires Bobby Heenan for the second time. That is this week on our Vantage Point. Also, check out Juice Pro Wrestling. This week, they sit down with Dan Perch, one of the up-and-coming referees on the independent circuit scene, talk about where he's worked and so much more. That is this week on Juice Pro Wrestling. And on the 24-inch podcast, Steve Bennett and Dave Rollins this week, they take a deep dive into the main event of SummerSlam 1991, the match made in hell, Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior against Sergeant Slaughter, General Adnan, and Colonel Mustafa. That is this week on the 24-inch podcast. If you're looking for non-wrestling related podcasts, check out Last Stop Penn Station with Carrie Silken and Ian Riccaboni. They go into the life of Carrie Silken. This week, Carrie Silken discusses Ric Flair. That's this week on Last Stop Penn Station. Also, check out the Castle Vault, where they are diving into Disney+. This week, they discuss and review Marvel's The Avengers. That is this week on the Castle Vault. On Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, they kick off a discussion to determine the definitive top 5 songs from one of Weird Al's compilations, The Food Album, and they got some help from superfans Mike Minnick and Adrian Vasquez. That is this week on Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast. And check out Escape from Walt Disney, where this week they review and discuss Unidentified Flying Oddball. Yes, that is a movie. I had never heard of it until I listened to this. So check it out, Escape from Walt Disney. And also check out Sharks Pond, a South Park podcast where I watch and review each and every South Park episode. This week, I review and discuss the season 13 episode Margaritaville. That is this week on South Park, a Sharks Pond, a South Park podcast, excuse me. And for you sports fans, check out the JC and Bill Sportscast, where this weekend we are previewing the NFL season. We're going to give you our picks as to who's going to win divisions, who's going to go to the playoffs, and ultimately, who's going to win the Super Bowl this year. Next week is a pretty loaded week because I will be reviewing All Out, plus I will be previewing and giving predictions to Ring of Honor's Death Before Dishonor. If you can believe it, that show is next Sunday, September the 12th. Everybody have a good, safe weekend. Have a happy Labor Day weekend, and come back next week for another episode of That Wrestling Show, the podcast where all pro wrestling matters. And until next time, wrestle on.